Hi, welcome everybody to this week's LinkedIn Live with Sell Your Skill. My name is Claudia Garcia, the founder and CEO of Royalty Medical Solutions. And for just in case you don't know me, I'm going to give you a quick introduction. For over a decade, I've worked with hundreds of healthcare professionals consulting on private practice launch, marketing strategies, and staffing solutions. Today, I'm the host of Sell Your Skill podcast, where I highlight a healthcare professional every single week. Today, I have an amazing guest. I'm super excited. She's a true trailblazer in dermatology education, business, and innovation. She's board certified nurse practitioner with a doctor of nursing practice degree, an author, entrepreneur, and educator who's leading the way for nurses to level up. If you read From Bedside to Dermatology, the Dermatology NP Starter Kit, or are eagerly waiting Dermatology DNP project ideas, you already know she's got the blueprint to success and she's sharing it all today. As founder of Mahogany Dermatology Nursing, Education, and Research, she's on a mission to close the gap in dermatology education, especially for skin of color, and is empowering nurse practitioners to build, automate, and scale their businesses using cutting edge technology. From AI training to tackling the preceptor shortage and reducing patient wait times in rural communities, she's taken it all on. So, Dr. Kimberly Madison, welcome. I need to get one of those little like sound machine
I know.
clapper things.
When you find one, let me know. I'll buy it.
Yeah. So tell us all about, well, let's start from the beginning. So for those that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about how you became a nurse and what prompted you to go into dermatology.
Oh, sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show. And yes, I am taking on quite a bit, but I'm not doing it alone. And that's what we're going to talk about today, the value of community. Well, I have a long story, but nursing is my second degree. And I kind of just stumbled across it when I was working at Children's Hospital Boston, recruiting patients for research. And I had to talk to the nurses every day to get those patients who met their criteria. And just interacting with them sparked my curiosity, saw that nursing had a lot of flexibility. And if I could pick my middle name, it would be flexibility. It would be flexibility. And so I've been on that path ever since. As we're filming this, next week is my 12th year anniversary as a nurse, but 15
Oh,
years in healthcare.
wow, that's
It's been
amazing.
a pleasure.
You look so young though.
Yes, I like that. Yeah, and actually, I haven't had any Botox or filler. I'm waiting for all my
Hey.
derm friends to hook me up for free. But my passion for derm really started during the pandemic. My love bug had some acne. I didn't know anything about skincare. I just picked things that were all in the same brand. And so I went down the YouTube University rabbit hole and I stayed there. So first it was as a consumer, like everybody else, right? Let's get us a good skincare regimen. And shout out to Dr. Alexis Stevens and Dr. V. They were talking so much about the science, and that sparked my science background, which is biology. So then I said, what would it be like to practice dermatology as a clinician? And during my whole doctorate, graduate education in nursing, I was exploring entrepreneurship, found out how valuable it is for generational wealth and financial freedom. So I was really on the fence on whether I was going to stay in healthcare because everyone I was listening to was talking about other industries. And it wasn't until I stumbled across Justin Allen, who showed me like, oh, I can actually leverage my clinical expertise and be an entrepreneur. And then I put those two together when it came to dermatology, and here we are.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's really cool. So you wanted to help
Yes.
somebody, and out of that, you went and found some resources and ended up falling in love with the specialty. That's
Yeah.
really cool. That's really cool. So then you decided, hey, I'm going to teach other nurses how to do the same. So tell me about that and what sparked that, the love for education and then teaching what you've learned.
Well, the love for education, it starts with being a little girl. Shout out to my parents. My dad was served with the Marine Corps, and my mom used to make me read book reports, write papers. They would be all returned back to me, all in red. And I just had amazing teachers. And I think that's really where it started, being given that attention and that love for education. But what happened is, as a nurse, and even a lot of physicians who don't practice dermatology, we don't get any of it really in our basic education and training. So when I decided I wanted to do this dermatology thing, I went to Google to find out who could teach me. And I learned really quickly there's a lot of diagnosis in derm, and that was going to be a steep learning curve. And I've always found that I learned the most by putting myself in a teaching position. So I started the Mahogany Dermatology blog. It was just going to be me just sharing my notes, right? It's like if I put myself in this position and share, it'll show where my gaps are. And maybe someone else might want these notes. In that process, I linked up with Diversity in Dermatology. I saw that they didn't have an author for their blog. They were kind enough to bring me on as an author, but also needed help with marketing and social media. So that diverted my attention and it opened up the pathways and it literally changed my life. And so I just saw I can actually specialize in medical education, this thing that I love, that I've spent my whole adulthood on, all my money. And I can do it with derm, where I saw all these. So in working with them, I'm the newbie on the team, right? I don't know anything about derm. And if I'm going to play with the big leagues, I need to know what I'm talking about. So it motivated me to look through the clinical research, understand the business. And in doing that, I learned all these gaps, right? If you're an entrepreneur, that's what you're supposed to do, find the gaps and
Yeah.
fill those gaps. Don't recreate what someone else already has done,
Yeah.
right? So gaps in faculty, diversity in dermatology education, skin of color, clinical research, and that's really evident in nursing. And so I decided to fill those gaps, and the communities that I built are all around filling those gaps and supporting my NP entrepreneur friends. And two things are true in business. One are the people, and two is you have to find other businesses that benefit from your business being in existence. And
Sure.
so a lot of times the goal is like, oh, I do Botox, so I'm going to go stop working for them. I'm going to work for myself 24/7. So you go create a job for yourself. But the
Mhm.
truth is, if the goal is that financial freedom that I talked about, eventually you won't be the one doing the Botox. You'll be running the business. And
Yeah.
so I want to support all my peers who still want to see all the patients and run their businesses 24/7, because you can't do all the things. And I love to support them from the sideline. I think how we linked up on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
I have this analogy, right? We all want to be the football player. They're the one on TV. They're getting the glitz, the glam, the awards, right? That
Mhm.
football player is the nurse practitioner. So
Uh-huh.
everyone's like, oh, I want to be a nurse practitioner. Then you realize, okay, well, there's no game if there's no plays. So then
Yeah.
you say, maybe I want to be the coach. The coach is the entrepreneur.
Mhm.
And then I said, well, there's no football players, there's no game if there's no stadium. So
Mhm.
maybe I want to be the lady that builds the stadium.
Oh.
And so that's how I see my position, my position. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's where we are.
That's awesome. And so that probably allowed you, since you were thinking, I'm gonna build this stadium and then fill it up with like-minded folks, you have then gone on to build some communities, correct? In
Mhm.
Atlanta and other places. Can you tell us about the communities you built and then the importance of being part of a community and joining one?
Yeah, so I want to shout out Dr. Patricia Delgado, who oversees Sunrise Dermatology Procedures Conference in Florida, and Dr. Patrice Kiesling, who's a member with me in DMPs of Color. Both of them inspired me to start a community where I'm from, which is the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So Dr. Kiesling, she started a Facebook page for NPs. They might be at 1,000 people now. A lot of engagement. And then when I went down to Florida with Dr. Delgado to their conference, everyone was from there. And they kept asking me, why'd you travel so far from Virginia to Florida? I didn't think it was that far, but I just really loved the fact that they could see each other all the time. And I
Sure.
said, I want to have community. I love being around people. And so
Uh-huh.
we started these groups. I say, I put the table in the room, but I can't fill all the seats. I'm just here to create a space for all of us to make this what we need it to be.
Mhm.
Because in life and in business, you can't make it alone. And
Yeah.
so I don't claim to be an expert. I just claim to say, look, here's a room. I'll keep the doors open. I'll hold it open for whoever wants to come in. And then we keep each other in business. We keep each
Yeah.
other healthy. We keep each other accountable. And so we have the DMV Dermatology and PPA group and our Derm NPs and PAs of Atlanta. They're a networking group for NPs and PAs who practice or aspire to practice in medical, surgical, and cosmetic dermatology. And sometimes we meet in person and we offer a lot of helpful resources and support, because your first question is never your last question. So even if you go talk to someone on a phone call or meet them in a conference, you're still going to want that hand holding and that support. And we're here to do that.
Yeah. So, you recently relocated, correct? So, are you starting a new chapter of your community?
No, I still no. I've gotten that question a lot. So I will be going back home. We'll continue that. We're planning our big summer mixer meetup this summer at a conference out there to bring more support, let everyone know you can come to DC. We do more than politics, come and have fun with us. I'm here in Houston, and we are building a little community, but it won't be anything like official like that. If you have my number, you'll get invited. But if anyone wants to start something, I'll show up. But I won't be starting anything else. There's
Okay.
actually already so
Well,
many groups
we
here.
shall see.
There's already groups here. I only did it because there wasn't a group there, but there's
Sure,
already
yeah.
here. So go
No,
support them. I support them.
yeah. No, I understand. I understand. I'm teasing you. Well, that's awesome. So now you are also offering some internships. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, two things are true. Time and capital are limited because most of us, we have our full-time life and our full-time job. And then we start something on the side. But in that 24, nothing changed about the 24 hours in the day, except all
Yeah.
the things you need to do. And so I realized that if my business is going to continue to grow, I need to get help. And so one of the things I'm super passionate about is writing peer-reviewed articles, adding to the literature, those gaps that I told you about,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
I'm going to add to that, especially when it comes to dermatology nursing education, right? That's what I know. And so um, I heard this doctor say he had published 800 articles. First, I
Wow.
heard someone did 50, someone did 100, 200. It's like, okay, yeah. When I heard 800, I said, okay, he's getting help, right? It's no way possible. And so, because of that entrepreneurial mind, it's like I don't have to be in academia to have this access to this kind of help. And so I created my own internship, and I tell all my NP entrepreneur friends to do the same thing, because what I need help, my time and capital are limited, right? But I still need the help.
Sure.
Simultaneously, there's someone out there who needs experience and exposure, but no one will hire them because they don't have experience. So
Mhm.
as soon as I thought of that, it's like, well, here's two people who could really benefit and help one another. So this
Yeah.
year we started the first intern, Mahogany Dermatology, Jade Trevino, and coincidentally, she's right here in Houston with me. I mean, we met through the internet. That's how she discovered me on my YouTube channel. And the fact that she lives right here is just crazy. But I'm sharing with her my intellectual property, which is priceless, my resources, which I paid for, and access to my network. She comes in with 10 years of derm experience.
Oh,
And
nice.
she's going to be learning about networking, how to own your digital presence, business, derm, of course, and then, of course, publishing and anything else I have going on. She gets access to that.
Okay, so she's going to be, interning on the business side of things.
Yes,
Okay, not on the clinical. Okay.
yeah, because that already exists. I'm
Yeah.
only here to fill the gaps, right? I saw that this isn't being addressed, but there's so many of us going into business, but we don't have that education training or the community, and so I'm here to offer that.
That's awesome. That's so
Yeah.
great. Yeah, there's definitely a need for that because you didn't go to school for business. And even if you went to school for business, there's so much that they don't teach. And it's really about learning from somebody who's already been there, right? Done that. And having a mentor or a coach to walk you through some of those things. So what is next for you? You have now really quick, are you seeing patients still on a daily basis?
People do ask me that. Yeah, yes, I do still see patients. I worked at the bedside for 10 years as a night nurse. Shout out to my night shifters. And so that's like 3 days a week. Every once in a while, I pick up a fourth shift, but barely. And so I have come to really value my time, right? The day hours, I always was available in the daytime, or, even if I didn't sleep, I knew I
Mhm.
was going to be available, right? And then I
Yeah.
was a traveler for a while. Once you get that taste of freedom, at least for me, that's
Mhm.
hard to let go of.
Sure.
It's very hard. And so, this everything I'm sharing with you, what you see me doing out here in the social media land and in real life, is
Mhm.
based on my personal journey. I was just like everyone else. I fell in love with derm. I wanted to get a job, found out I didn't meet the requirements, even though I had been a nurse for over a decade. Because in
Mhm.
derm, they want you to have, on average, it varies, but at least 2 years of experience, right?
Okay.
And so immediately I realized, well, if I would have known this, I could have been getting exposure 2 years ago. Because most nurses, once they become an NP, they have been practicing. And so everything I do is really to support that nurse to make that transition, but then to show up and be as competitive of a candidate as possible. So yeah, maybe they don't have as much derm experience, but they
Yeah.
be a huge asset to your business. And that's where I'd like to step in. I'm going to teach you how you can help this business owner, because even though they're a clinician, they are running a business. So if you can learn how to speak business with them, they might overlook the fact that you can't speak derm because
Yeah.
if you're trying to run a business, you need help. And if you can get someone who can do two things, see your
Mhm.
patients and help you start, optimize, or scale your business, I think
Yeah.
they'd be willing to sit at the table with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's great. And then in regards to you have some things that you are offering those that are interested in dermatology. You have the dermatology NP starter kit
Hmm.
as well as your book. It's an ebook, correct?
Yeah, they're all well, the Dermatology DMP project ideas book will be my first hard copy book. And so, like I said, I started off wanting to share my notes, right? And then I
Mhm.
decided to just share my journey. And now everything you see is answering people's questions. And just like when we look through the data and the literature, we identify themes in the literature, right? These gaps. Every article you read, you see the same theme. In my own personal experience, being in community networking and people getting on all these consultation calls, I also identified these themes, which was that they want to know how to get their first job in dermatology. That's my most popular YouTube video. I have a whole playlist on tons of strategies from AI, name, image, likeness. I just have so much fun coming up with ideas on how to help you guys. From walking into the office with a basket of goodies. Shout out to Dr. Kiesling. That's how I got my shadow opportunity. So everything that they ask me, once I answer the same question, Claudia, once I answer the same question 5 times, it's time to write a resource for
Oh,
it.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because everyone, if there's one person who asked, there's at least another 100 people who didn't ask but have the same question. And on our little private Facebook pages, every day they're asking literally the same five questions.
So this is a really good thing that you have that you're listening to your audience.
Mm.
Because that shows that you're a really good entrepreneur because many people want to run with ideas and they have a good one, they have another good one,
Lots of
and they
them
just run
actually.
and run and run, but they don't stop to talk to their potential clients to see what the clients actually need. And if you don't actually have these calls with them, then you can't create the products and services around the actual needs. And so so kudos to you for listening because you're going to be able to serve them a lot better when you're able to give them the right solutions versus just, hey, here's a big list and they're like, well, we don't need that, we need this other thing. So sounds like you're right on track to solving a lot of problems for a lot of DMPs that want to go into derm. So that's really cool. So I want to talk a little bit about just your specialty in regards to I know we didn't say we were going to talk about this, but I'm actually personally interested in it, the treatments for skin of color.
Oh, well, let me make some clarification because you mentioned DNP. So there are two terminal degrees in nursing, the
Okay.
DNP, which is Doctor of Nursing Practice, and then
Okay.
the PhD, which has been around forever. And
Okay.
we're on a mission to try to make some clarifications. A lot of times people are told, well, if you want to do research and teach, you do PhD. And if
Yeah.
you still in clinic, you do DNP. But that's not completely accurate. So you can
Okay.
be an NP, and not everyone has to be an NP. I tell people all the time, you don't have to be an NP just because you're burnt out at the bedside. But if you
Sure.
want to be an NP and you feel like this is going to help you reach your goal,
Mhm.
and you want to go get a doctorate degree, and you still want to see patients, you can still do that. And you can
Mm.
get your PhD, and you can still do research and see patients. Shout out to Dr. Kimberly Souffrant, who taught me that. She's an emergency medicine NP, and she still does research with her PhD. And if you want
Mhm.
to do the DMP, you can do that too. You can still teach. You can still do research. We just do research differently. The PhD is generating new knowledge, questions that we haven't answered yet. And then the DMP, they're taking that knowledge that the PhD nurse identified because it was taking 17 years for that to reach the patient. We
Oh, wow.
could agree that that's a little too long to wait. So the DMP was created to say, let's fast track that gap and implement it. So you have this great idea on how to address skin of color.
Mm.
Well, if we're going to put it in this setting, long-term care, where they have limited time and limited resources, this is how we're going to implement that information. But if you're going to put it in an acute care setting, this is what we can do. And if you want to put it in an outpatient private clinic, this is how you can go about it. And so that's where the DMP becomes really valuable. And we can do a million things, from implementing interventions to policy, evidence-based practice. It's a long list of things. So everyone in dermatology, especially if you want to be an MP, if you want to see patients, you can be an NP. You don't need your doctorate, but there
Okay.
has been a push in nursing to have us get the highest degree so we can operate at the highest level, because as you said, the population is demanding more providers. And if
Yep.
we're going to be able to improve our outcomes, we want people who have a really high level of knowledge and skill set so we can address these problems. So you don't have to be in a DMP to practice dermatology.
Got it, got it. Okay, that's great. That's so good. So, do you also have a lot of RNs that reach out to you that say they want to work in a derm office, or is it just PAs and NPs?
So yeah, you can be if you want to work in derm, you can start as MA. A lot of nurses start as RN. So in nursing, mostly the skin is called the integumentary system, and we focus on things like pressure injuries. And so a lot of nurses don't even think about derm. But I think because of social media, because look, the videos are very attractive, they're very fun. When I saw someone wearing pink gloves, I said, I want to wear pink gloves when I go to
Mhm.
work. That attracted me, right?
Yeah.
I remember my women's health provider one time, I was like, what made you decide to work outpatient versus inpatient? She's like, well, I just decided I didn't want to keep taking care of sick people. And my clinician friends understand what I'm saying. There can come a point in time where it becomes a lot. And so when you
Sure.
see really pretty videos and they're having fun, it's very attractive. And you see something like a Botox where it's like, well, I do injections, so I don't have to go back to school. I don't have to get another certificate to make this transition. It seems like a
Mhm.
low cost entry, right? And so that's why I say they just leave one burnt out place to go create a job for themselves, but they lack the
Mm.
business acumen and they lack the business strategy, because at some point you have to leave doing the Botox, but they don't have an exit strategy. What's going to
Mhm.
happen when you can't do that anymore and you need to step into a higher role? So they don't have that. So it's a lot of RNs that coming in, but really it's a lot of NPs. So they're in school, they're in another specialty, or a big question I get is they're already doing something else and they want to go into aesthetics, right? Because those are the
Okay.
people making the videos
Yeah.
and they're dancing, they're having fun, right?
They're dancing and having fun for sure.
And so they want to go back to school and get another degree or certificate, which could take 2 years, right? Well, it takes 1 year to apply. That's 1 year of your life. Then you're in there
Okay.
for 2 years. And then most people get about 2 years of clinical experience. And then you start your business, which takes about 2 years to kind of get your legs. So we're talking 6 years before you really get where you're trying to go. And then you're going to do all of that and then not even use the certification or licensure, because I just said you're going to have to step into an executive role. You won't even be the one doing the patient care. So I
Mhm.
ask all of them, is it worth it to spend 6 years to get to something that you won't even utilize? So the questions come
Mhm.
from both groups. And so those are the questions I answer. Most of the questions I answer how do I get my first job, from students, from practicing clinicians. They want to know, or should they go back and get their DMP? And then
Mhm.
a lot of NP entrepreneurs, uh, how to start, scale, and optimize their business. That's what we talk about a lot, their business marketing and growth strategy, which they don't typically have one.
That's awesome. So you're going to be doing a master class coming up,
Yes.
correct? Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit? I know we're coming to close soon, so I want to hear all about the master class that you are setting up and you're going to have
Yes.
available for those that want to join.
Yes. So right now I'm working on my biggest launch ever, which I talk all about on my YouTube channel under my name, Kimberly Madison. I go live every Sunday answering your questions, right? It started off me just talking about myself, but then I get those same questions. I told you, Claudia. So now I just
Mhm.
answer their questions. And so right now, all my friends, all my MP friends, all my entrepreneur friends, all their focus is clinical. So much of our identity is focused on what we do with the patient, because all of our training is patient-centered care. And you know who gets lost in that? We do. But through my own personal experience, as a new provider, it's like if I'm spending 5 days a week, because remember, I was living that 3 day a week life, okay? So it was a culture shock to, to spend that much time. It's like if I'm spending 5 days a week caring for someone else, when do I care for myself? right? When do I get sleep? When do I get to spend
Mhm.
time with my loved ones? When do I work on my business? And so I've shifted my mindset. In addition to that patient-centered care that we're all trained on, I also like to talk about provider-centered practice. What does that look like? And so there's tons of programs out there by all my friends in derm to teach you how to take care of the patient. But when you want to start and grow your business, you need to know the business side of it, the networking, your digital presence, how to leverage the expertise that you already have. You don't have to go back and get a
Mhm.
certificate. You don't have to go back and get another degree. And I want to teach this masterclass and show them how to leverage the expertise that they already have as an aesthetic or derm NP. And so that will be coming up soon. And I'll be talking about the whole experience as I'm building it on my YouTube channel and also the Mahogany Dermatology blog.
Oh, that's great. That's so great. So when does that master class take place? Do you have a date for us?
I don't, but
Okay.
maybe around May.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming you're going to put some kind of wait list out then
Yes.
for everyone. Okay.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
we're going to add all of your links to the bottom of our live. And this is also live on YouTube and Facebook. So we'll get all of your information out for anyone that's interested. You're doing so many awesome things. I'm so excited to see what you're going to do next and
Well,
follow
what we're
along.
gonna do next, right?
And yes, so we're going to do something big.
Never lose an
Um,
opportunity to make a pitch.
what was that?
I never miss an opportunity to make a pitch, especially when I see someone who is well established as yourself, who has the knowledge that you've acquired for almost 2 decades in entrepreneurship. And the phase that you are on your journey is you want to give back, right? And who
Yeah.
better to give back to than your peers in entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
And like I said, all our time and capital are limited, but you have the bandwidth to create that community that we so desperately need to keep each
Yeah.
other in business, right? How we started this
Yes. And
show.
we're doing it with the podcast, but what she is trying to get at is that we are going to work on some type of retreat or I guess what would you call it?
A mastermind.
A mastermind. There
My
we go.
favorite
We're going to work
place
on a
in
mastermind, take some folks that are ready to take their business to the next level, and we're going to go to a nice resort and we're going to talk all about business and sip on some margaritas.
some prickly pear in my favorite place in America.
Ah, okay, okay. Yeah, so no, so we definitely have some fun and exciting things coming up. Also, I wanna remind you guys that if you haven't heard about the Nurses Making Moves conference in Tampa on March 8th, I will be there. I'm a panelist, and I'm just really excited. There's gonna be some great folks there, so if you're local, make sure you show up. If you haven't got your ticket yet, I think there's a few tickets left, a few spots left, and so I hope to see y'all there. I'll also link the information below in case you're interested. Thank you. I hope to be a guest on your podcast sometime and chat it up again.
Yes, and shout out to Dr. Farah, the host of Nurses Making Money Moves, one of my
Yes.
best friends here in entrepreneur land. And
Yeah.
what will you be talking about?
I'm a panelist, so I'm not quite sure what she's going to be asking us just yet, but I think it's a secret or surprise.
Well, shout out to her. She's our mutual friend, right? That's
Yeah.
how this came to be. So that we thank her for that introduction. And yeah, we'd
Yeah.
love to have you on the show, and we'll have to pick a fun topic.
Yeah,
Oh,
we will.
yeah. Let us know in the comments what you want me and Claudia to talk about. That would be
Yeah.
fun.
Yes, yes. Ask away, and we'll show up and we'll answer all your questions. So, well, keep on doing big things, and we encourage everyone to go after their dreams and yeah, go launch big. Thank you, guys.